Hey everybody, KC here. Terrific piece this week in the Washington Post by Sally Jenkins, one of the best sports writers around. And it's about Tom Brady. Now, let's be clear. I am not a big Tom Brady fan, right? I've been a Jets fan for way too long to have any kind of warm feelings about Tom Brady. But that said, it's a really revealing piece because what it's all about is how Brady has been successful because he's able to set and achieve what the article calls distant horizon goals. And the premise is that if you just improve a little bit at a time, 2% at a time, it's much more effective if you're able to do that habitually as opposed to maybe one big 20% improvement. Because that's almost always going to be temporary. But those little habitual 2% improvements over the long haul, over a long period of time, sustained, is much more impactful. And one of the things they talk about in the story is she writes that at one point, Brady was training and he was in his 30s when he started training for when he was going to be in his 40s. Quitting sugar and white flour, among other steps. And he works in May for what might happen in February. Consider this story about him. In the spring of 2020, in the midst of the coronavirus outbreak, Brady participated in the Match 2, the made-for-TV golf exhibition with Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods in Florida. It was hot and it was raining. Nevertheless, a couple of hours before tee-off, Charles Barkley saw Brady in the parking lot of a golf club. He was running sprints. "What the hell are you doing?" Barkley said. "I'm trying to win a Super Bowl," Brady responded. And that's really interesting. And one of the things they also write in here, Sally Jenkins writes, is that Brady's unquenchable ambition is, of course, a mystery. But what really separates him is that he marries it to method. Without that method, year-round rigor, he would be just another guy with big aspirations who couldn't live up to them. "If I don't really work at it, and if I don't play to my strengths, I'm a very average quarterback," he said years ago. And it's true. And I think that the notion of playing to your strengths is where I see the connection to retail, right? That too many retailers are just trying to be, they're just trying to do what everybody else is doing. But if a really smart retailer figures out what their strengths are or what they can be, that differentiates them from the competition and plays to those strengths as opposed to trying to be all things to all people, well, that's an enormous advantage. And the other thing is the notion about playing the long game, right? Again, too many retailers, in my experience, they maybe try something. They'll try it for 6 weeks. Maybe they'll even try it for 6 months. But if it hasn't changed their world, if it hasn't rocked their existence, well, it's not working. We're going to go on and try something else. There are retailers who took this approach with e-commerce. They'd do it for 6 or 9 months and they'd say, didn't change everything. We're not going to do it anymore. I can think of at least one retailer who tried that 3 or 4 different times and kept saying, it's never going to work. Well, and then at a certain point, they realize they're going to have to make it work and they outsource it, right? But if they've been doing it themselves all along, if they had focused on the long game, they would have been much better prepared for when COVID happened and it accelerated e-grocery into the future. So again, it's making little increments. It's in terms of progress. It's being rigorous about that. It's trying to be habitual about it. And it's about playing to your strengths and always saying, listen, this is a long haul. This is a long game. I'm going to play for the end of that long game. I'm not going to just worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Anyway, great piece by Sally Jenkins. Even got me to say nice things about Tom Brady. That's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.